Howdy.
How did you do?
Welcome, welcome.
I heard me never silent up my phone, so I silenced it.
Oh, all right. We don't see Shawnee yet because, you know how computers are sometimes. They choose where the stamps update. So her computer's updating. As soon as it's
Indeed.
done, she'll be on.
And you're barely seeing me because I don't buy my ring light yet. Hi!
Okay. Hi!
Hello from the other side.
How you guys been? It's been 2 weeks since we saw each other.
Good, man. Good.
But what part of the world are you in now, Antonio? Because every week here.
Where was I last time? Oh, I was in DC last time. Right now I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, all right.
Because you had another performance, right? You had or you were doing something
in DC.
Mm-hmm. How did it go?
Yeah, it went really, really well. Nice. It was really great. We did this performance in a chapel, and it's so interesting that we're talking about John Crow's Devil. It was in a chapel in a church, but we created this sort of devised piece around sound, music, and spirituality.
Nice.
And all of us who were performers, two from South Africa, myself, an Afro-Indigenous woman from the U.S. who's from those lands where DC is, and an African-American sister who's from Florida originally, but she's based in Michigan. But all of us are, our spiritual systems that we primarily practice are indigenous, right? African-based or native to the Americas. So it was really interesting how this work that we were doing that really has universality to it was perceived by some of the people who ran the chapel as possibly being pagan. So prior to the performances, there was some enlightening conversations that I was able to have with some folks as we move forward through the process. But it's fascinating in 2024. It was, so that went really, really well. So it was amazing. And then I released new music while I was in DC as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I say, my go on.
So you can tell us about the music release and then
I do. It's a new house track called "I Have a Confession," in collaboration with some guys from, this is like French-based, and then another duo who are from the continent as well. So it's really dope.
Is it on YouTube?
It's on YouTube. It's on Apple Music. It's on Spotify.
People that can go look at it.
Platforms. Yeah, I Have a Confession.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. You'll find out in Alliance, August, and Creative Natives.
Nice.
And you had a poetry thing that just happened, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a really busy week and a crazy Thursday. Because I said yes to 3 things that were happening on the same day. World Poetry Day. So it was the most active World Poetry Day in Jamaica ever. Like really, there's a lot of stuff, and it was nice. There's a poetry group called Jaiku Poetry, and they did a really cool thing. They pulled together what everybody was and created a calendar and circulated, and so it was really nice. So I was one of the judges for the student poetry class at UWI, Faculty of Humanities, and then I was part of the reading a tribute to Edward Baugh, which happened on campus as well at 5:30, and then Tribes and Co for my group were asked to open the Poet Laureate's Poetry in Bloom thing at Devon House with one of our signature pieces, and it all went very, very well. And so it was just a wonderful, heady and giddy thing. And then yesterday I hosted a writing workshop by Yashika Graham called Using Archives, and that was just so dope. It was so amazing.
Using archives?
Yeah, so people were asked to bring things, and then we looked at newspaper articles and how poets take the news, and it was really wonderful. So we're gonna do a follow up. It was so rich and just really, really nice. So I'm feeling good.
But wait, so with this process, were people creating new work?
Yes, so they went through some stuff. Yes. So the last thing was writing something, and so we said, okay, this need a part 12. So we're gonna do a series because it was really, really, it was just rich.
Okay.
Nice. And so the last thing they did was create something of their own, and then we're gonna do some more sessions. Yeah, so that was just lovely.
I love that.
Yeah.
I've been here doing workshops at the Island Space Caribbean Museum. As far as they know, it's the only Pan-Caribbean museum in existence.
Yes, you're there.
Right.
So you see Oliver.
I didn't see Oliver. I didn't get a chance to see Oliver. But we work at the museum and working with in two different ways. I was sharing on folk music and folk culture, Jamaican folk music and culture. So I shared on the mythology as well, and a few different some of the various peoples and traditions, and then we're doing instrument building. So we're building instruments that are because banjo is it's a part of mento, but banjo is coming from Africa, in the U.S. and stuff. But so we're making acontings and banjos, gourd banjos and acontings. So good, really nice. I made mine too. I made a couple as well and decorated them, and I'll share pictures. Well, I think I might have shared with you guys pictures.
That's so cool.
And then so we did last weekend. We just did this weekend. I'm gonna go back to Boston. I'm gonna come back next weekend for the wrap up of it. I'm helping them to put together little presentations, each person to kind of talk about their journey and what it means to them and why they're doing it and that kind of stuff. And we do a panel and presentation on Sunday.
Could you say the name of the museum again and where exactly?
It's called Island Space, and it's in the Broward Mall, but it's a Pan-Caribbean museum. Hey, Shauna K. Burns.
Hey, not me in the wrong studio. I was in Studio 4, around the corner from the drink machine.
Right. Sure, hon. Sure.
Well, you're there. I know. You're there. You're catching.
No, because it always happens when you get the wrong PAs.
I am telling you.
She went to TVJ. Talent to be here on time.
And they redirected me to the wrong place.
Yes. And the parking was far.
And then you bust the door of the studio and look, it's the wrong set. It's like, this is not my show.
Not my show.
Whoops.
Whoa.
Who are these people? And what have you done with my set?
Oh my God. Blame it on Michael. I hear he's the producer and he was supposed to have your VIP parking pass.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
I dropped the ball. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry. Yes, we're sharing on our week. We've been sharing on what we've been doing on our week. How you been?
I have been okay. My family was here, including my very adventurous cousin who had me all about. I was on an ATV. I rode horses for the first time in maybe about 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Your cousin dry you out.
That kind of adventure. Okay.
She did. But, it was good. It was nice to kind of be out there. So ATVs are not my thing.
You don't like
I will absolutely drive fast in a car. I will down road. On the ATV, no. Everybody's like, come on. I'm like, I'm coming.
Well, so Sean, I'm trying to understand. You're saying that the ride was too rough?
Basically. And I'm okay with saying that.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just checking.
Stop that train. I want to get off.
So, now that Shauna is here, I just wanted us to spend a few minutes and talk about a good friend, colleague, mentor, director, all kind of things of ours who passed today. Brian Heap, who for a very long time was the director of the Philip Sherlock Center for Creative Arts. Brian has been involved in the Jamaica pantomime, like heavily,
She directed for many years, yeah.
Exactly.
And
performed in it.
Yeah.
He was with Kid Stuff with Pierre Lemire. You know, he did clowning and that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He also worked with NGOs. Also worked with the youth and education in Jamaica. You know,
Hmm.
he came to Jamaica from the UK in the 70s. But he's done a lot of work, and he's one of the few people I can say personally. He's one of the few people to put me on stage,
Then,
in plays and encourage me in that regard, in all my creative things. When I went to study music, all kinds of stuff, he was always a voice of support and encouragement.
Mm.
Um, so I mean, for me, but I guess I know Shauna has her own experience, and Fabian, you. So we can, if we can, just share a little bit about him. I think that would be nice, just a little tribute in a way,
yeah.
to Brian's life.
So I actually met Brian when I was anchoring around UDAS. There was a UDAS meeting because when I actually got on the no true true Fabian laughs.
For the people
No,
who
no,
don't know,
I know it's anchoring.
UDAS is
Anchoring.
Universe, dramatic
Right,
is right,
Dramatic Art Society.
right.
I actually, as a young creative, joined University Dance Society.
Okay.
And other friends, Carla, Tanila, like, they were already in UDAS. So I would go and I'd have my class over by Dance Society, and then I'd come and just be in the Philip Sherlock in the round. And literally, Fabian, I would be anchoring around UDAS.
Anchoring.
I was anchoring there. And then I think, you kind of anchor enough. You kind of just start, okay, we're going to do a movement activity. Everybody come. And you just
You drop
kind
in.
of found your place there. And Brian at the time, he was a drama tutor for the Philip Sherlock, hadn't been the head yet at that time. And I did my first production under UDAS with Brian, which was Zenioba Constance. No, not Zenioba Constance. Well, yes, because it was a two-hander. It was Zenioba Constance's, I can't remember the name right now, and Lorna Goodison's The Domestic Science of Sunday Dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was just really good. And I think at that time, Brian was heavily into off the page, it's not off the page, taking already known published written stories and poems and all of those things and making them a theatrical production. And so I got into that, and then several productions after. And then years later, he did productions with University Players. Um, Absent Friends with that Maharani's Misery,
Mm-hmm.
and just a lot of other different works that Brian had put me on stage.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that for me stood out about Brian, and I think one of his hallmark techniques that people may understand is ain't no set. Like, I think if you're gonna see five Brian productions, two at best is gonna give you set,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're gonna get boxes, you're gonna get lighting, and
Mm.
maybe one or two fabric
Yes, yes.
somewhere. For me, that was my to this minimalist set, and everything is going to be done through the acting. So you relied heavily on bringing the character, bringing the scene. So you're in this house and you're on one box, and then you're in the yard and you're in another box, and you as the actor have to be able to translate to this audience. Um, and I actually found that I was very much a fan of that. Other directors that I've worked with heavily does that, to including Mr. Thomas here present,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
dealing with minimalist set. And I think I learned that from Brian, or I was first introduced to it through Brian. And that, I think, for me, is one of the things that actually has helped me in terms of I've had other directors tell me that I have stage intelligence and stage presence, as just knowing what to do when you're on the stage, even though you're not directed. Because also, one of the things I'm going to tell you about
Yep.
Brian,
You make it direct yourself.
remember, that's what you're going to learn. And
Yes.
also, I think he was a casting genius,
Yes.
because
Yes.
he's going to cast the people who are going to direct themselves.
Yes.
Brian will give you suggestions.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
again, these are my experiences. Brian may give you some suggestions.
Yeah. I
Um,
I
And just
remember
protect
when we were going
yourself.
through the process with Catherine Mulgrave, when we were doing that, he was devising the process, and I know that I filmed some of those rehearsals. So I'm gonna have to find it now because I remember us being in that room and just devising those different scenes, and then he'd put it together, he'd bring it together.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most fun things I think was the first time we did 8x10. I think it might have been for Kingston on the Edge was the first time. I did this 8x10, and it was eight 10 minute um
10-minute
plays
pieces. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
pieces. Yeah, so much fun. They just kept going like this, and of course, no set because who's going to be changing set every 10 minutes, right? So boxes, as you said, boxes,
Boxes.
tubes, and a prop here and there. But yeah, brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, and then also just over the years became a friend.
Mhm.
Also very good at having his friends and theater people and stuff around him.
Yes.
He was always good for, oh, let's have a drink in the backyard.
Yes, and he cook.
Very,
He always
very,
him would cook. He would cook some Indian food or something.
yes, he also
Yes,
could.
and they made it
And
sorry.
just bringing together generations of theater people, different people who were um different age groups, different styles of theater, different things. Again, for those of us who may be joining, we are talking about Dr. Brian Heap, who passed this morning. Theater stalwart, educator, actor, director, writer, the
Witty,
works.
witty, 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 witty.
Witty, witty and sharp.
That's what I was gonna say. That
Yeah.
in addition to all the theatrical things and the productions, it was the dry sense of humor, wittiness, that British wit,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
the belly laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, so Pierre and Colleen Lemaire, who are really good friends of his, had this Christmas Eve thing that's a tradition. And
Right.
the rule is you get invited once. You're not gonna get invited again because it's happening. And the only time you'll get a message if it's not happening.
Mm.
So when Pierre went to France, and so Brian's liver pate was legend.
Mm-hmm.
And every time, yeah, and Christine did a salmon mousse. And so you'd wait. Wait for Christine and Brian to arrive. Bread cut up already in the oven for the liver pate to arrive. Yeah, but it's so funny. I was talking about him with John Paul yesterday. I went to assess a play at Edna and I said, how's Brian doing? And we had a long talk about him. Yeah, so bless him, bless him. I'm glad he is out of his suffering
Mm.
and gone on to his next assignment. But yeah, but bless you. I said, walk good, Brian. My post today was walk good and say hello to them other one.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that. Yes,
Yes,
very
that's
good.
right too.
Because they will be drawing long bench
Mm,
and behaving
absolutely.
badly.
Yes. So walk good, Brian. Walk good.
Walk good,
Lots of
walk.
love. Lots of love to everybody who knew you. All of
Mm,
us who've been touched and affected by you.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Thanks for sharing, guys. You can come back in, Antonio. Come back in. Come back in. Let's talk about the book.
I'm here.
Yeah.
No, I love, it's like that as you all were talking, I didn't know Brian, but all I kept thinking about was this what legacy looks like embodied in others.
Mm,
Mhm.
So I got a chance to learn about Brian.
Yeah.
yeah.
Moment. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
through
I
your
was
practices, that work continues, like that life lives. So
right.
that's
Yeah.
I was glad that during COVID I had a chance to have a night to interview him for my podcast for the Mike's Moment of. So we
mm,
spoke for like an hour and plus, and so at least that's there.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. All
Nice.
right, John Crow's Devil.
The book. Antonio has the book.
Lord.
What a drama!
Look
What
here.
a drama!
I actually, there's a question that I had. I was going through, right, because it's like those of you who haven't read the book, meaning people who are watching this, not necessarily us, but there are no chapter numbers.
No.
Right,
Every chapter it has a title
a title exactly.
with no number. So you're like always like, what chapter am I on?
Mm,
But the thing I was doing today, I was going back through sort of preparation for the call, is just like, what what exactly do these titles mean, and how are they connected to the content of
Mm.
the chapter? Right? So that was like another different kind of revelation. But I was stuck because I don't know what 777, like the letter 7 3 times. What is? I don't know what that reference
That's
is.
a biblical thing, I think. Um,
Because
I,
666 is the Antichrist.
Right.
right, right.
Right.
Seven
It
seven
was
seven is like
biblical.
is
Seven
like
is
the
Seven
the
and
is
divine
spiritual
numbers,
wholeness and
the
completion.
whole and complete numbers.
but
So
yes,
seven
complete.
seven seven.
Seven. The number seven biblically means completion.
Right.
But the seven. But like there's a Christian rock band called Striper. I don't know if any of you know of Striper. That's I grew up with them too. So
What's
and
the
one
name?
of the things,
What's the name?
Striper, like by his stripes
Pepper.
were healed. That's
Okay.
what.
I knew a couple Christian bands. Very, very much into
Yeah,
them.
man. So
Jesus
on
Freak
their
albums.
symbol they have 777 as well on it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so this it's a Christian thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it also could be just something. I mean, repeating it 3 times. I mean,
Neela is on Instagram and she says it's when the three sevens clash. That's another thing. When the three sevens clash.
the 3 sevens being who kneels.
Well, you know that there's a song called
Utterly bam bam ba yeah. It was two sevens,
the 2 sevens.
1977. Is it two
Okay.
sevens?
it's two
But it's
sevens.
yes, I googled and it says it's an angel number
Right.
Ah,
That is what I was going to
associated
say
with
as well.
wisdom,
There's numerology.
intuition, and divine connection.
Mhm.
okay.
The angel number 777 is considered a powerful spiritual message. When it appears repeatedly in your life, it is a reminder that you are on the right path and that you are in tune with your purpose and mission in life.
Well, that sounds very much like it belong in the book
Yeah,
because
well, so remember I mentioned the Lesser Key of Solomon, those red and black books that I'm
Mm,
assuming it means that. So that wasn't those things weren't just about demons. They're also about angels and the hierarchy of angels and
right.
mhm.
sigils and all that kind of stuff. So hey, maybe very much
Well, I
so.
mean, it makes sense because, like, in these chapters that we read, that 6 through 10,
Yes.
it is fast and furious.
Yeah.
Like, the rum preacher
Rum preacher.
he's just like, you know what, no, I'm attacking, keep beat
Then I
down,
come back.
up, attack again, beat down, get back up. It was
Mhm.
like non-stop.
Stop.
He becomes this avenging angel in a
You
particular
pick
Mhm.
him
kind of
up,
way.
you lick him down, he bounce right back. What a hard man said.
Dead. Mhm.
Neela
And
says
it's
thanks.
vomiting.
Neela
You're
says thanks for the
vomiting.
thing.
Hey, that
Yeah.
thing. And Blood Marlon, when Marlon described vomiting,
Yes.
a
Yes.
whole other thing. Woo, but that also that image of the purging of the what is inside you needs to be
Yes. Come
removed
out.
and
Hmm.
come out, and that thing clearly in his arc, in his journey, that it is this retching up of and then he's describing the smell and then the third time when nothing came up, but they would say, "But see, Lord Jesus," and drag him by the. I love that she just come and say, "But see, I do what?"
And just drag him out.
Just drag him back up on the bed. Yeah,
Mm.
But
it's a
what a way the apostle is twisting up and confusing the congregation, telling them what they must say and who they must hate and who they
and
must
who they must keep it made the hair on my arm stand up. But it's
Yes.
so real because we have these people in real life,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of religions who do that.
Yeah.
even
Are
some
you
non-religious
prepared to be
ones.
violent for the Lord?
Yes, I
Yeah.
don't want to
We
call
have
any
to kick them
names.
and bun them
Please
and take
don't.
them out. And I was like, it gave me chills because it's fiction, but it's not.
But it's
Yes,
not.
But it's
Yeah.
But it's not.
so I'm not going to call names, but even in the news currently,
Yes.
there's
Mhm,
communities of people who have been
mhm,
brought up to
mhm,
feel that another community is worthless and is subhuman and they must be killed.
mhm,
So look at how that happened, and it's no matter what you said to them or what you showed it to them, they won't believe that
They
mhm.
won't believe it.
they
Yeah.
won't believe the truth. Yeah.
yeah.
And it was starring him go through a whole range of people. He never
Mhm.
left no stone unturned.
None.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
they were saying, the narrator was saying, but it mean us truth. And truth must be hard. And look when put out, so the justification, because they say, which is like they rough us up with scripture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Scripture mustn't be easy, and they did it. Like I was like, woo,
Yeah.
Don't call the Lord's name. Don't.
no. What do
But
you call your father?
What do you call your father? You're wrong.
but they also said that in the Bible that if you call the Lord's name, you can bind the demons and stuff. So if him telling
It
you not
does
to
say
call the
that.
Lord's name,
Right.
him no
Exactly.
must one demon him no one get bind.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, as a whole, don't call it in vain, you see. If you're calling
They
it,
must
it
respect.
must be to a purpose. That is it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I thought it was quite interesting just in these chapters as well as watching him through Lucinda's eyes.
Hmm.
And that particular moment when she finds him naked,
Right. She peeped through
discovers
the
him naked.
peephole.
And
Yes. And she was quite titillated.
but it was a gateway, right? So in one instance you see the way that he's like manipulative,
Hmm.
like
Yes.
in a like any sort of stereotypical pretty man who knows how to use his charms,
Mm-hmm.
right? This sort of demonic version, and also this uh, patriarchal
Yeah.
figure, right?
Yes.
That
Yeah.
just confounds her, and at
Yeah.
the same time, he ignites this lust in her.
Mm-hmm. Is that the scene when he had like the smell of soap on his finger?
That come after.
Oh,
After
because
I
that
wanted to
made me
understand.
go ooh, as well, like ooh. And
Yeah,
she liked
yeah,
it.
yeah.
The smell was unusual, but she liked it.
Mm.
yes. This
Yeah.
was when
Yeah.
she was peeping through the peephole
The peephole.
and
Oh,
a few things. Yes.
She was supposed to carry something to the office or
Lucinda.
something. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Lucinda fast. That's a part of her history because she
No,
she
that's
fast the widow and her husband marital business too.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
No,
And
the
them.
peephole was the second time.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
The first
Oh,
time
this is
she
when
catch
she.
him with the door cracked.
Oh
She
yes,
closed
yes,
the
yes, yes.
door
You're right.
to give him some information about the
You're
sex.
right.
The peephole was when she was going back for seconds. Like I just gotta. You know what I mean? She's like,
This is the one where he was naked and the red and blue black books are open on the
exactly.
floor.
That's
Yes.
the
Yes.
first one. Right,
So the
right, right.
second time was intentional. The first
Yes.
one was accident.
Yes.
Very good.
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
first time she only got a crumb of the pie crust. The
Right.
Yes.
second time she wanted to taste the filling.
So me hungry, me hungry.
And it's also how he meaning Marlon keeps us confused about time
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
with
When
some of
is
these
this
practices,
happening?
right?
Yes.
Because she then goes and starts some old medieval nonsense with
Hmm.
the flaying of her skin to
Yes,
beat out
yes.
this evilness. And I was just like, wait, what? Where?
Yes.
And she was like, it was she's saying it's what the Jesuits do
The
in
flagellation. Yes, the
right?
starvation.
I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, is that still a thing? Like in
Mm-hmm.
this
I think
moment?
some people still do it.
They
And,
may.
then-
They may
and there's
very
some
well.
people who, whether it's in the religious pantheon or not, but this idea of hurting you're binding your flesh.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
And so and even people who self-harm.
I
And
was
it's
just
tied
about
up
to
into
say
that
that,
whole
baby.
mythology of, and then
Mm.
some people who, and then there's especially with kids, teenagers. I've spoke to some teenagers and worked with who cut.
Yeah.
And what they say is it's a release. So the bleeding when they cut and the blood, it's almost like it's a release of what's building up in them. So most of them do not intend to kill themselves. They're not trying to kill themselves.
Oh
It
Yeah.
wow.
really is a release. They feel like something is building up, and the cutting and almost like the blood seeping out is a release. And the first couple of who's my blood ran couple, they said it's a release. It feels
Yeah.
like it's almost. One girl said it's what stops her from killing herself.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh wow.
Cutting the release, and it's the same people who used to you beat yourself, and some of them backs strip up,
Keep up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's
yeah.
proper whip, almost them tie things on it,
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
barbs. They
Once
usually
it
have
gets
barbs
in,
on the whip
yeah,
or
man,
the
the
leather strap.
self-flagellation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you're saying about the release that the thing I've also heard is that it is um a, a, a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
So well, I guess release would be the right term to, as
Mm-hmm.
in it's the physical pain
Mm-hmm.
that you can get over the mental emotional pain.
Okay.
or the
Yes.
sexual
So
or
your
the
face
sexual
is yeah,
urges.
yeah,
Yes.
or the sexual urges, but also even in the cutting. So the having to process the physical pain,
We're
it
distracted
distracts
from the
them
other
for a
one.
while
Hmm.
from the emotional mental pain.
Yes.
So I guess to the other extreme, somebody else may say every time them go through a drama in them life, them get a new tattoo, them
Yeah.
get a new piercing, them So
And in the religious sin, you die in your flesh.
mm,
So there's and so some people take those things because some of the Bible it rough,
yes,
Mhm.
And so some people take it literally like you must harm. And if you're right, and it's in the book. If you're right, offend the cut it
cut it
off.
off.
Cut
But
it
it's
off.
also the shedding of the blood and scarring of the body is also blood sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's
to
true.
Yes.
cleanse.
Yes.
Yes.
So
But it's also interesting, like, Marlon begins to lean into the psychosis of these women. And he tells a story of like these two versions of herself, like that her mother split her in two.
into I
Mm.
I particularly enjoyed that
Yeah.
unfolding of that story.
Did anybody watch Sybil?
Long time ago with
Sally
what's your
Field?
name?
Long time.
With
With
the
who? Sally
Sybil with
Field?
Sally Field.
Yes, yes. Long
Mhm.
time ago, yeah.
What a painful thing. But what that woman, her mother,
Mm.
was like. Remember, she insert the water in her and then tie her to the piano and tell her to hold it. How
Mm.
could you not split into many pieces?
Hmm.
If
Yeah.
that was one of the things that was being done to you, and she put everything, and then the father who kind of knew on some level that this was going on, but just kind of so that thing of her splitting, I thought, yeah, it's so that you splinter, you separate, and it's okay. You hold this piece, and you
A
hold this,
beautiful dog.
and
Yeah.
you hold this piece. Yeah, but
Yeah.
the psychosis of the women, because the widow, the widow get rough,
Yeah.
Yes.
What she said, "Oh, what do I want? What do I want from Jesus? What do I want?" She's like, I don't want to be a widow.
A widow.
Mhm.
Or like, I want to
Right.
be somebody's wife again.
Yes.
Like,
When Lucinda
Correct.
called her Mrs. Something, she said, "You send the husband around here?" She said, "You
Yeah.
send Do you see any husband here? Why you calling me that?" I was like, "Oh, she's not having it today."
Yeah.
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
And I think this is where you start to see, well, for me, the more interesting of the characters being the women. I mean, later down, there's a focus on the five, which gets real interesting.
Yes.
Um, but yes, just the history, and then you see the history between the widow and Lucinda that go all the way back from school days.
School days, yes, boy.
Yes, and
So the
one
widow
who,
was a bully.
yes,
Mhm.
and all the things that really were, and you kind of
Who was
connect.
sexing out somebody up in the tree? Who was
I think Lucinda was looking, she was climbing the tree to look
She
at,
was
Yes.
watching.
like she
and
was
somebody was
watching.
somebody's wife, right?
She was
It
Being
was the
watching one
widow.
of the five who was married to. No,
No,
she
sir.
was
She was
watching
being
the
The
watched
widow
by
widow,
and her husband.
her
the
husband
widow and her husband.
because she wanted the widow's husband for
Yes,
herself.
she
yes.
shall look him.
She
Yes,
actually, you remember
she,
she had sex with the widow's fiance at the time
yes,
Yes.
at the
and he
water.
walked by the Farina River.
Mm.
Yeah. And who jumped into the tree? She? Somebody.
She
Lucinda, Lucinda.
looking up the
Yeah.
tree, watching the two of them.
Because again, interestingly about that split, that's her mother, because her mother was like a Obi woman, but also a prostitute.
Ah,
Was it?
okay.
Am I remembering this
Yeah,
right?
no, same, same,
You
same.
might be, you might
Yeah,
be.
she had
But yeah,
customers and customers.
yeah, man.
But she could have customers as an OBA woman,
No, that's why I said she
Said
had
both.
customers and
And
customers.
customers. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just a part of that day, the day work and the night work and all of those things.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
like Pa Ben would say about the science that they are customers and
And
customers.
customers.
Blue Shona. But it's like the mother was split
She's still
as
here. She just took
oh,
off.
okay. But the mother was split as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it, right? So she talked about her mother being this very sort of Christian woman to the public
Mm-hmm.
and in the night,
Mm-hmm.
phobia and prostitution.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a
Okay.
lot of split people raise split children.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially when you do acknowledge that you split.
Thank you, because that becomes your norm.
Yeah.
Anybody remember? And it was if it's one of the most unforgettable things for me. Prince of Tides.
Mm.
I don't remember. But I
When they
remember.
come and they rape and they sodomize him, and and then she makes them clean up the blood and bury the bodies, and then they had dinner in the living room like nothing happened when the father
Wow.
came home. You remember Nick Nolte's mother?
Wow.
Yeah, they came onto the farm. Him and his sister. That's why his sister went off, and the mother. So they raped the mother. The guy raped him, and then he got the gun, shot them, killed, and then the mother had them. They cleaned up the blood, cleaned up the living room, put it back together, buried the bodies in the yard. Then she cooked dinner, and when the father came home, they sat in the living room as if nothing had happened.
Wow.
I'll never forget, and that's what sent him off. And his sister ended up I think his brother committed suicide.
Okay.
Because you create this completely alternate that horrible thing that happened. So he also not only was he violated, he watched them rape his mother, then kill them, and then you go like, okay, this didn't happen. Don't say anything to daddy, and that was it for them. And I never forgotten that. Like, wow. And so many people that follows you. Because also, like, and some kids when they go to school, also, this is not what everybody else does.
Right.
You know, your uncle is not coming into your room. You know, your father is not punching your mother every time she says something. And so some kids they discover that this is not the norm when they mention it, because it's the norm for them. And religious things as well for a lot of people. Oh, they don't make you kneel on stones when you're rude at your house or in your church. You know, it's like, what?
I've actually found that interesting because actually one of my friends told me not so long ago that, and I found it strange, as you had said, kneeling on the stones, is that when he ever he and his brother would actually do something, their uncle's the one who kind of raised them, they would make them kneel on the upsided the up he would turn bottle stops,
Oh
those
wow.
water up top on a jagged edge, make
Yeah.
them kneel on that while they hold a reasoning with him. Check it, wait now, about why they did the thing they did, and what was the motivation behind it and all of this. So while they were building his spliffs.
Oh my God.
Now listen, now listen. And what my friend came away from that was a kind of weird respect about when he does something out of line or out of pocket. He goes through a whole reasoning about what was the motivation and why he was doing it, kind of seeing it as a good thing. And then conveniently, I guess he has suppressed that the kneeling down on Butterstop's part. So again, creating this split in children, this split in people that follow them to their adulthood life. And so it's like the processing that you're processing about your behavior, something is amiss here, because then he has come now to respect that way of disciplining. And I said, that's abuse. Wait a minute. Because it's clouded now, which I think was like Lucinda's mother, you know. There is this way in which she was still in awe, although she hated her mom. And she was still in this is how you must live. You must live a spirit. You have day and night, Lucinda. You have that evil part of it, which you try to boil down. But there are times that you must draw for this obia or dark Lucinda, dark person.
But it's interesting because Marlon takes it to an extreme, but don't we all?
Yes.
Presently or at some point in our lives, there's a thing that I do with men and boys around the masks, right? And we have these conversations about the different masks that we wear depending on who we're with or who we're representing at any particular time, right? And it's amazing that people aren't consciously aware that they are constantly shifting depending on what they think the outside judgment is going to be about who they are and what they're doing, about the internalized judgments that they have based on what their upbringing is and how they show up even for themselves, who it is that they see in the mirror when they look in the mirror, or if they avoid the mirror at certain times. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think it's a really dynamic exploration around what happens when we live in spaces where we have to make these choices. You know?
Yeah.
Because what if she didn't have to? What if she lived in a space where her or her mother could be like, Obi is all right, church is all right. If I want to be a sex worker, it's all right too. You know what I mean? Or I don't want to get paid money for it, but if I want to have multiple male partners, and that's how I live my life, and then not be judged for it, you know what I mean, or demonized.
And it's funny, that reminds me, yesterday, the same writing workshop, that she talked about, I think it was a poem or an interview, or someone was saying that she have to deal with the fact that she fat on a Monday, and the fact that she dark skin on Tuesday, and that she so something because she can't, everything at once is too much. All the things that are wrong with her, so she have to split it up. So she process the things, because it's too much. And she working on her way to deal with the wholeness and fullness of herself. But right now, she needs to compartmentalize
The different things.
all the things that she either believes or she's told is wrong with her, and separate them, because she can't manage them all at once. So split. I'm going to deal with this over here. And for a lot of people, and a lot of women of color, people of color generally, but also women of color, that compartmentalization. And then, our enslaved ancestors, wow, that was like a,
split.
say randomly, split. Who took your kids, rape you, chop off your son's foot. You're serving him and smiling. And that thing that she said, mask, we wear the mask that grins and lies, it hides our cheeks and shades our eyes.
Exactly.
That we pay to human God, with torn and bleeding hearts we smile, and mouth with myriad subtleties. And that mask, as you said, self-awareness, some people are not aware. Because it's the norm, it's them life, them don't see it as, so they don't know, but some people can say, yeah man, I switch.
Yeah.
I consciously, when I talk to my mother or my church but some people they don't know, they don't see the mask, they're not aware of it.
Yeah, because often it's just about survival.
Yes.
Right. So it's unconscious, it's automatic. It's like, how do I stay alive in this?
Right.
And living your life in survival mode becomes your norm. That's when you feel like you're like, rest, relax. What does that mean? What are those two words? Yeah. And so that survival mode. And you feel like a lot of the characters in this book are in a mode.
Yes.
They're in a mode. And sometimes it's not in their control. So you feel like there's something happening, and like they've come together for a reason, but they're in a mode. And I think Marlon has found a really interesting way to set that up. And some things pop out to you, like, did anybody else, like the little boy in the church in the wig and the cotton to look like Jesus?
Yes.
And then with him kept singing, when he never realized, everybody else stopped. And I thought it's almost like he's a wind-up doll, like him not anywhere. He kept singing.
Yeah, that's true.
So him look like Jesus. That it was like, oh wow. And the narrators were beautiful. They were this wonderful, beautiful child, and then them realized it's a wig.
It's a wig.
And then the cotton, and I was like, wow, some of those images that Marlon paints that just leap off the page at you, like, whoa. Like I saw that kid.
Like the dead cow.
Jesus.
Spread open.
Weird. Yes. Spread open.
That's what I read. That's what with the head. That's what I paused right before we came on. Because I said, I'm so glad it's almost 6, because
so the dead cow, but also that mentioned a couple chapters before of the what's the name he gave the man, the contraptionist with the lightning himself.
With the lightning and the light.
Listen,
himself to have sex with the cows or something.
Yes.
Made a contraption.
And this was the moment.
Made a contraption.
These were one of the moments that I had to say, okay, I'm gonna stop now.
But those are the moments that make me think of Stephen King, I have to tell you.
Possibly. The moment I go, okay, I need a beat break from this book. A beat.
And then them wait till the dog them eat him too. I was like, what is this, man? Stop it.
Yes.
If what came before wasn't bad enough, they let it stay there.
Yeah.
Like,
can you imagine this in a movie, like when they come to that scene with the contraption and the man string up?
But also for me, and maybe it's just me, my makeup, and what it triggered me to think of them burning black bodies when they lynch them. So we hang you by your neck, but then we also set you on fire. And something about the way Marlon described that thing made me think of a lynched black body and them hanging it there. For example, see?
It's the show.
It took me right there. I thought,
But that's why they left it.
That's what I would say. Yeah.
He's a sinner. He's demonic. This is what happens to you if you have sex with animals.
But also the fact that you would build a machine to enable and enhance your sex with animals.
Yeah.
That's commitment. I think
it is. And then the lightning say whoosh. And I know how they say nothing happened to the cow. Nothing happened to the cow was unscathed.
God bless.
That is commitment and ingenuity.
But it's interesting also the way Marlon sets these things up because you don't see that thing coming.
No.
Right? Like you're like, oh, it's the banging, it's the hammering, he's building something. Okay, he's industrious. And then you find out it's for this purpose. Even with the dead cow in the ditch, when he describes it, it's very erotic. When
yes.
Like,
as if she's ready for sex.
Like, wait, what is he about? What?
Yeah.
Right.
And not even like 6 words later, it takes an immediate turn to something very like,
yes,
what the hell is happening?
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Like again, the more I read, I understand why so many publishers said no thanks.
No thanks. Truly.
No thanks. I get it. I totally get it. No thanks. No thanks.
I've been a service.
But and then can I share that since I don't get the book yet, I'm struggling through the lady.
Yes. Oh my God. Her pronunciation.
The woman's pom pom.
Pom. Yes. I was like, no.
I said no. Nobody heard it. Pom pom.
I go to quality control of this company.
Pom pom.
Because this would not have been the first time you would have not published or done a voice for a Jamaican Creole thing. And you must have a quality control department. Who goes?
But she got Porky right, but pom pom.
But then when she says Baba, every time, no Baba. No,
and is it me or is it me that she kind of softly pronounce the name of the place differently several times?
Every time.
Gibeah.
It's like she couldn't settle. And just like the accent never settled, she couldn't settle either.
Oh my
because
God.
one Eastern carried a come back the
Listen to me now. I was like, is she from Trinidad? What's going on? Where's she from?
Oh God.
Where's she come from?
There are too many things going on there.
Horrendous.
Oh man.
And how could they listen and think this is okay? Did they get to the Jamaican
Does anybody listen? Listen?
The accent is not even bipolar. It's like quadripolar or something.
The accent is just not. It's not. No. A Jamaican growing up in Bronx.
It is alarming.
Probably could have done this better.
To me, yes. I got something in my voice to audible because this cannot be right.
Absolutely.
You need to.
This cannot be right. Yeah, but this is Marlon. It's a grim story, lurid in part, but it's haunting. It pulls you, even though you want to look away. You keep saying, "See me, you're gonna say your peep through the finger." Yes, it's very that. This would be as a movie. I think the movies that Mia Goth is in. I forgot the names. The guy's name is. This would be up that Midsommar. That same guy, Midsommar.
Oh, okay, yes.
This would be up in that kind of realm.
So, but the thing is,
responses to it.
So Fabian is dark, but it's not. When I'm reading it, it does not seem improbable or impossible. It seems very likely.
Oh, Antonio went to you and
the
tribe at twist up is trying to be proper and be able to, but no.
Enjoy your dinner, Antonio.
What is it? What is for dinner?
Because this is a
Open
real
the
book
map.
club.
This one.
It's gone, gone. I was so
What,
hungry.
what is it?
Can you see?
No.
What you know?
Niceness.
That looks very vague, vegan. I don't
It
understand what's going
does.
on.
It does,
He's
my
vegan.
God.
Are you vegan, right? Are you vegan?
I am vegan. I
I'm
am.
Shame on you.
serious.
I'm
Shame
not
on you.
split. I'm not a split person around my eating.
That looked like some type of sauteed mushroom situation.
It wasn't. It's actually a dal, lentils, and
Oh,
then it's
Okay.
collards and kale, some
okay.
Brussels sprouts, and some cornbread. I
All
take
I
that.
right.
thought I saw Brussels sprouts. I love Brussels sprouts.
It's the Brussels
Love, love,
sprouts
love,
I
love,
thought
love
were
Brussels
the
sprouts.
mushrooms. Again, not a fan of Brussels
So
sprouts.
it's Southern American slash South
Love
Asia.
Brussels sprouts.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We can't get Brussels
take
sprouts in
that.
Jamaica.
I am split around my food because when I come to Jamaica, when I go to the Bahamas, I'm not
You eat
vegan.
meat.
You eat
Not
meat?
meat, not meat, seafood.
Okay,
If I
okay.
go
Oh,
to Bahamas, which is
Yeah,
what
man.
I Spanish from conch,
Bahamas, yes. The
conch,
conch.
conch all
I
day.
hate conch. I don't, but I hear the conch in Bahamas. People, it's
Conch.
legendary. Yes.
Yes,
I come to
the
Jamaica, I
context
do
is delicious,
sausage,
but I'm allergic.
beach, steamed fish, and crackers. Like,
Yeah,
listen,
man.
you can't.
You're allowed, and no need to flagellate. No need.
no need, no
We
need. You can
absolve
do
you
all of
of
these
all
things
these
at
things.
once. Hmm.
I flagellate with copious amounts of water.
You know, this room is without judgment. So hey,
Without.
Yes. I hate conch. Conch, no,
I
no.
love it, but I can't have it anymore. I'm allergic. So
I
Oh
don't
no. So
mind
You're
it.
allergic to conch now?
yeah,
yeah. I
But
tried it once. I was
Antonio
like,
goes, what?
God.
yeah.
Oh
And I love a
no.
conch chowder, but I'm allergic now.
I'm allergic to shrimp.
So am I. Shrimp, lobster, crab,
Yeah, so I
and
used to eat them, but since it's shrimp, and it's because I had bad shrimp and I had a
Perish the
just then.
thought.
No, if I smell shrimp too strong, I feel nauseous.
Oh my. Oh
yeah,
my,
I
my,
can still have
my.
mussels. So far, I can still have mussels,
Yeah.
which I love. I love mussels.
I love mussels and I love God, what's the other ones?
Um, um.
Roundish white.
Oh,
Um
Janga, busso,
Scallops. Scallops.
scallops.
scallops.
scallops.
Thank you, Antonio.
No,
Scallops.
none of those things. No.
Yeah,
But also a very tricky thing to cook. And if boy, it was
yeah.
some planting. Don't
And
think I have it.
as we're on this, do anybody remember any regular or vivid descriptions of food in the book?
Hmm.
No, not yet.
I
Yes.
thought
No,
I saw
descriptions of food. Yeah,
with
Rock Preacher.
Okay.
And Widow's entire relationship is based.
Based
Oh
on
yes, I was sitting down to eat the dinner
oh
or breakfast.
yes,
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 you're
Yeah,
right. You're
man.
right. You're right.
yes.
Yes,
That is her love language.
that is
Mhm.
yes, that is her love
One
life.
of them. One of
And
them.
also
But
when
also
she's trying to catch you,
clothing him. Yes.
Yes.
trying to catch man and catch him is food.
I
I had
love
mentioned
food.
Shauna. I don't know if you were on yet, Shauna. I was also very disturbed by the beating of the widow.
Yes,
It
the
was
kicking and
it
My
was
boy
all
stepped
disturbing.
on her breasts, in kick her in her stomach.
It was all,
Jesus.
and I
And then
guess for
that
me,
image for me of her taking some out to the wash pan and like I saw like the fabric, I saw it on the water. But what a futile gesture.
Mm.
But that whole thing, I was like, oh my, what? And him
Mhm.
sex on her breast like 2 or 3 times.
and my whole thing, and I
And
guess
he
this
went
is
for the
for me.
breasts.
I
Yeah.
had a separation of book, and I'm just like, why does author need to go so far? I
Mm,
got the point several beat ups ago.
yeah.
And it's not just okay about the women. And it's a general descriptive style, which we have already established is
Mhm.
very gore, is very detailed. And when you read the other books, you kind of get the same feeling. But I was just like, okay, I'm fairly certain you can stop now. Like, I
Yeah.
get it. But maybe that's just me.
Man,
Like,
it told me. It told me.
it's like, okay, so we're describing this, and I get this is your style. I get this is your thing. I don't know. Is it that it's unrefined? Maybe I'm too much of a delicate flower.
Sometimes I read a forget, cook forget, cook forget. Sometimes I read a forget, cook forget.
And as Mike did say, you're not delicate, mama. I go Jamaica, not delicate, you're not delicate neither.
But I'm just like,
Yeah, sometimes it does feel like, okay.
is it too much? And so for me, this is one of the reasons why I would kind of go in terms of as a reader. as a consumer kind of going, "Sure, this is gonna make me," because it's like it distract. Like, do we have to go this far?
Yeah.
But
I'm
then,
now curious and even more curious. Like I told you, I've heard more than one colleague say how hard they found Brief History of Seven Killings to read. And two people said they had to stop and start several times.
yeah.
So I'm wondering, is it a stylistic thing of Marlon's?
But
Was he
is Night Woman not easy to read either?
well that it did mash up Calabash?
It- Very good book, and I somehow got
Mash
through
up
Night Woman, and I
Calabash.
remember liking it. But I remember I tell people, I said, "This is not a kick it cook at night,
Mhm.
kick up your foot with a cup of tea on a balcony type of read.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not
like
gonna take
When
you up
Malika
to a
Booker, her
place."
book. You were there, dear Malika Booker read Shauna at Calabash, and she say, we're going to need a bottle of wine or some liquor.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
She warned us. She said, "I just going to tell you all, you're going to need like a bottle of wine or some common liquor to, when you're reading this book, have that at the ready."
Yeah.
Neela said
She
it's true.
did not lie. She did not lie.
Neela said she started twice. She started twice and had to stop. I'm not
Okay.
sure which book. I asked her which book, so when she
Right.
Yeah.
respond, I'll let you
But
know.
you know something that I found a little surprising with that the women physically weren't allowed to really fight back in the way that I
Mhm.
know Jamaican women or other Caribbean women in my life and my family will fight.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, I know that you guys are coming. I'm already on alert. There's a machete, there's
Mhm.
a
Mm-hmm.
knife,
There's a
there's
hot water.
something,
There's something.
right?
Yeah.
Somebody would have left with at least one scar.
Now
One
take out
star.
something or somebody.
You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
that I kept finding surprising, particularly the way that the widow is written, because there's a level of strength and
Mhm.
independence.
Right.
And so
In her.
when that happened, when they came for her, then all of a sudden she was reduced to a character
Nothing.
of femaleness.
Something you stomp on. And you
Yeah,
see
you know what I
her
mean? Like
breasts
how she
and
become
kick
so
her in her
feminine.
stomach. Yes. It was rough. It was really hard to listen to and read. Yeah.
Just to follow up with Neela, she said brief history of 7 killings.
Okay, so
But
see
she
now, so,
started twice
so
and had to
apparently
stop.
it's several people. I
Mhm.
have it. I haven't read it yet, but the people, yeah. So
You know,
clearly
I have
that's
it
it.
too. I have it on Kindle, and I also have the one that's going to be the trilogy, the first one, and I haven't started it yet. The one that's supposed to be the trilogy had started. I have the Kindle, but I also have the audiobook. But that the person reading that annoyed me as well.
Again.
Exactly.
Wow,
Is this
wow.
Which one
guy
is that? Which one is that?
I'm gonna soon tell you. Let me
Not
look.
the Red Wolf something
Yes,
something.
that one. The
Red Wolf,
first one
that
of that
one.
of
Oh,
those.
oh,
Yeah.
that's the one that Michael B. Jordan that HBO is doing, right? Isn't that the one?
I
Yeah.
guess,
I,
I guess, but the person narrating that book,
It's also
it's like
annoying.
he annoying because it's like his voice probably has this tone, but he tries to do this for the
Oh,
whole,
okay.
and so you can't really understand him.
Oh dear.
So it just gets
It's
annoying. Yeah,
control.
that's
different.
disturbing.
It's
So
annoying for different reasons
this
than this.
we have 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes
Oh
left.
yes, yes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. So in 2 weeks we're at what
10
chapter
Ten.
to 10 to
11, chapters
16.
11
Oh,
to 15.
11 to
Yes.
15.
Also, yeah.
Yeah.
Look here.
Okay. Nice stop.
Journey continues.
The journey
Yes.
continues.
So,
Um,
so
Interesting
as we're
journey.
wrapping up, I do have a quick question. So as we're wrapping
yes,
up, a word from each person that kind of encapsulates what you were left with after reading these last chapters that we just talked about. One word, one word.
one word.
Word. Oh my God.
I, I'm going to
Battle.
be okay. Go ahead.
Battle.
Baffled.
Battle.
Gritty.
Gritty. These sound much nicer. I'm going to say distaste.
Oh wow.
I
Mm,
would, after this, I did, but after this, I was like, I don't need to read this book.
Okay.
mm.
So to okay, we'll take those on.
What's your
Neela,
word? What's your
What
word?
was your word, Antonio?
Oh, disturbed.
Yeah, it's a lot.
it
Mm.
take more than that to disturb me.
It
But
feels like a battle. So the characters are battling, and so am I.
Correct.
As we close, Neela says, I think Rockaz should produce audiobooks. We probably should, because we have enough
We
to say about
should.
them people there.
Neela with the
Good idea,
ideas.
Neela. Good idea. Yes.
I have a great American accent.
Yes, you do.
I've been working on it.
Yes, you do. Boy, Lord have mercy.
And it can be very neutral American accent.
Love or no.
Yes.
See you in 2 weeks. Enough
Bye.
love.
Don't go anywhere. Let me wrap this up. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.